The coffee is still hot when Marcus asks the question everyone's been whispering since Monday. So what, you win the lottery or something? He laughs when he says it, but his eyes don't. It's 6:47 a.m. The break room smells like burnt Folgers and printer toner, and you're wearing the same gray Patagonia vest you've worn to this office for 6 years. Your badge is already deactivated. Facilities called yesterday to ask when you're returning your laptop. You're 41 years old, and in 11 minutes you're walking out of Meridian Logistics for the last time, and not one person in this building knows why. You could tell them about the number, $2,340,000. That's what sits in your Vanguard account this morning, quietly compounding while Marcus complains about his car payment. But you don't say the number, you never say the number. You just shrug and say, just got lucky, I guess. And you watch something in his face settle, relieved. Like luck explains it, and skill would have been an insult. Nobody saw the beginning. Nobody saw Toledo, Ohio, 2007, a rented duplex on Elm Street with a landlord named Gary who banged on the door every third of the month if rent was a day late. Your father drove a forklift at a warehouse for 22 years and retired with $11,000 in a 401k. He didn't understand and never touched until he had to. Your mother clipped coupons from the Sunday paper at the kitchen table, and you remember the specific sound of the scissors, a dull metallic scrape, because sharp scissors were a luxury you couldn't justify buying twice. You didn't grow up dreaming of stock charts. You grew up watching your parents flinch every time the phone rang because it might be a bill collector. That flinch got into your bones. It became the engine. At 22, you started at Meridian making $34,000 a year in the warehouse operations department, the same kind of job your father worked, except you had a laptop and a 401k match you actually understood. Your coworker Denise, who'd been there 14 years, told you on your first week, "Don't get comfortable, they don't pay you what you're worth here." She was right about the second part. She was wrong about the comfort. You didn't get comfortable, you got quiet. While everyone leased new Chevy Silverados and took the extended warranty on everything, you drove a 2009 Honda Civic with 190,000 miles on it until the transmission gave out in 2019. You ate the same lunch most days. A turkey sandwich and an apple from the Kroger on Airport Highway, $4.20 total. Because you did the math once and realized DoorDash lunches were costing some of your coworkers $3,600 a year, they never noticed leaving their account. Nobody clapped for that. Nobody was supposed to. Here is what nobody saw. Every paycheck, before you paid a single bill, $600 moved automatically into a Vanguard index fund. Not because you were disciplined in some superhuman way, because you'd set it up once, on a Tuesday night in March of 2008, and then you simply never touched the setting again. You didn't check the balance daily. You checked it twice a year, in January and July, the way some people check their weight, with a kind of clinical distance that kept the fear out of it. Your friend Tyler, who started at Meridian the same month you did, made almost double your salary by year 8. He moved into regional sales, got the company Tahoe, got the corner cubicle. You watched him get promoted past you twice. You felt it. Don't let anyone tell you that kind of watching doesn't cost something. It does. There were nights, specifically one in October 2015, sitting in your Civic in the Meridian parking lot after everyone else had gone home, where you asked yourself if you were choosing patience or just failing at ambition. Nobody was there to answer that question for you. You had to sit in it alone. By 2016, Tyler had a boat. You had $180,000 in index funds and a landlord's version of a house. A 2-bedroom in Sylvania you bought in 2013 for $97,000, still driving that dying Civic. Tyler asked you once, half joking, half not, why you didn't live a little. You told him you were fine. You didn't tell him that fine was doing 9% average annual growth compounding silently while he financed a 22-foot Bayliner at 6.5% interest. The market crashed in 2020, not metaphorically, literally in March, over 11 trading days, and your account dropped $210,000 in value in a single month. You didn't sell. You didn't even open the app for 6 weeks. Your wife, Nadia, found you standing in the garage one night just staring at nothing, and she asked what was wrong, and you said nothing, because explaining the fear would have made it real, and you'd learned a long time ago that panic is contagious and silence is not. By 2023, the number crossed $1.9 million. You didn't tell anyone. Not Marcus, not Denise, not even your own mother, who still thought you were doing all right at Meridian, still asked if you needed help with your electric bill sometimes, out of old habit, out of the flinch that never fully left her either. There's a specific kind of loneliness in being financially free while everyone around you assumes you're just getting by. You'd sit in budget meetings discussing a $40,000 shortfall in quarterly freight costs, nodding along, knowing you could personally cover it and never notice the money leave. You never said that. Saying it would have changed how people looked at you, and you'd learned that money changes rooms the moment it's spoken out loud. So you kept your mouth shut and your vest zipped and your Civic, replaced eventually by a used 2017 Honda Accord, paid in cash $14,200, parked in the same employee spot, row C, every single day. The morning you decided to retire wasn't dramatic. There was no boardroom confrontation, no dropping the mic. It was a Tuesday in April, and you were 41, and you did the math one more time. 4% safe withdrawal rate on $2.3 million is $92,000 a year, more than your Meridian salary ever paid you forever without working another day. You sat with that number for 3 days before telling Nadia. She cried, not from joy exactly, more from the release of 18 years of shared restraint finally exhaling. You didn't announce it at work. You gave 2 weeks notice, standard, quiet, the same tone you'd use to request vacation days. HR asked where you were headed next. A competitor, maybe. A promotion somewhere. You said you were taking some time. That was true, in the driest possible way. Marcus asks about the lottery on your last morning because the story he can tell himself, luck, chance, some external gift, is easier than the other story. The one where an ordinary person with an ordinary salary in an ordinary Ohio suburb simply refused, for 18 years, to spend money he hadn't decided in advance to spend. Nobody wants to hear that the secret was never a secret. It was just unbearably boring, executed for 6,570 consecutive days. You shake Marcus's hand. You tell Denise to take care of herself. You walk past Tyler's old cubicle, empty now. He left Meridian in 2021, sold the boat in 2022 during a rough year, still working, still fine, still a good man who simply chose differently than you did. And there's no judgment in that, just 2 different roads through the same stretch of Ohio. You get into the Accord at 7:02 a.m. The parking lot is exactly as gray as it was the day you started. You sit there for a moment, not out of ceremony, but because some part of you is still waiting for someone to stop you, to ask the real question instead of the lottery question. Nobody does. Nobody ever does. Because the real question, what did you give up every single day that we weren't willing to give up, is a question people are afraid to ask out loud in case the answer implicates them. You drive out of the Meridian lot for the last time down Airport Highway, past the Kroger, where the turkey sandwiches cost $4.20, past Gary's old duplex on Elm Street, which has since been torn down for a CVS, and you don't feel triumphant. You feel something quieter than that, something closer to relief mixed with a strange kind of grief for the version of you that had to be so careful for so long. Nadia is waiting at home with coffee, real coffee, the kind you now let yourselves buy without checking the receipt. Your daughter Sophia, 7 years old, doesn't know what retirement means yet. She just knows daddy's home on a Tuesday, and that's enough for her, and watching her not need to understand the math is, somehow, the entire point of the math. Years from now, nobody at Meridian will remember the specific date you left. They'll remember the version of the story that was easiest to tell, that you got lucky, that something fell into your lap, that the world simply handed you an exit while it made the rest of them wait. You'll let them believe it. Some truths aren't worth defending, and quiet money never needed an audience to be real.